In this situation, this is an instance where the defendant came to Kalamazoo, people contend with a specific purpose, which was to find Mr. Vines and confront him. That's evident by the fact that he came to Kalamazoo with 2 guns. He went to the victim's address. He found Mr. Vines at that address. He then confronts Mr. Vines, a person who had helped take care of the defendant's child over time. Mr. Vines was a 64-year-old Army vet. He was defenseless when the Senseless Act took place. He was first in his vehicle when he was shot. He was then outside his vehicle, and in the video that I've referenced, you can see Mr. Vines reach up his hand as if to plead for his life as he is being shot. There are anywhere from 19 to 20 shots that were fired in this situation, Your Honor. First shots were fired by Mr. Johnson from his motor vehicle or outside his motor vehicle towards Mr. Vines. He then gets in his car, fires again from his car, exits his car, at which time you can see Mr. Vines outside of his car. Then he fires again repeatedly and actually has to change the firearm that he's using. He empties 1 gun, then fires 4 more shots with that second gun while Mr. Vines again is outside the vehicle, raising his hand as if begging for his life. There's some audio that you can't quite hear. And on the final shot, Mr. Johnson leans in towards the defendant as if to finish Mr. Vines off. And the defendant offers as an explanation that Mr. Vines was pushing his buttons on purpose. This was a senseless act costing a 64-year-old Army vet his life for nothing that he had done wrong and nothing at all to excuse the actions taken by Mr. Johnson on February 25th, 2021.
To Mr. Russell's statement, this was a crime of passion. I found it interesting that Mr. Russell spoke in terms of Mr. Vines taking care of the defendant's child. It was the defendant's child that sent him over the top. And this is not an excuse for the action that he took. It's just an understanding of what happened at the time. As I said, it was a crime of passion. He was told that that child wasn't his and that his former girlfriend wasn't his, and that Mr. Vines told him that they were his at that point, and my client lost his mind. I have spent some time talking with my client, and he recognizes and knows that the action he took was not appropriate in any manner, that Mr. Vines should not have been punished like this. And in fact, he admits that if he had this to do all over again, it would never happen. He knows that he did wrong, he knows that his actions were wrong, and he knows that he deserves to be punished for his actions.
With this agreement between the defense and the prosecution, Mr. Johnson may very well get out and be able to rejoin his family at some period. It's a distant time in the future, certainly, but he has the possibility of doing that. Mr. Vines will never return to his family, and there's no reason for that. I will follow the agreement in count 1, 25 years to 45 years with the Michigan Department of Corrections, credit 0 days already served.